With Kraftwerk, Klaus Dinger and I had some incredibly exciting concerts. Some were so explosive, and I was totally blown away by the power with which Klaus Dinger played the drums, and Florian Schneider also creating super exciting sounds on a treated flute with octavider and fuzz and everything. So it was a very primitive, simple music, very dynamic, and the good nights were amazing. But when we tried to record an album, the second Kraftwerk album with Conny Plank in Hamburg, we realized that the concept which we had, it was not suited for the recording studio. We couldn't transfer the excitement of the live appearances into this sterile atmosphere of a recording studio. So after recording maybe 25 minutes, I think that's what we got on tape, we gave up, and it was quite clear to all of us, without probably even talking about it, that we didn't want to continue working together. The problem was that both Klaus and especially Florian Schneider were very spiky characters with some issues going on, which made them at sometimes rather nasty. But it was easier for me to imagine working with Klaus, although he was also quite a different personality. To be honest, he had traits which made it impossible for me to consider him a friend. But as an artistic collaborator, he was just incredible. And so we thought, okay, let's give it a try and work as a duo. We should book with Conny Plank a studio and then try to record what we can deliver. Slightly different concept, of course. And so that's what we did. We talked with Conny. He was immediately enthusiastic. It was very easy to convince Conny Plank to do something crazy, because he was just as enthusiastic about developing new structures and being inventive in the studio and in music. So we didn't have to push him anywhere. He just went along and helped us in a great way. Neither Klaus Dinger nor I had any experience, especially me. That was the first time I really was in a recording studio. Apart from one recording with Spirits of Sound, but that doesn't really count. Klaus Dinger and I were very careful and wanted to avoid any influence or power of say by a record company. And therefore we thought about how much money we could put up and scratch together the money to book the recording studio with the help of Conny Plank, who put an equal share. I mean, we were very optimistic, really. We could only afford 4 nights. That was all we had, all the money we had for the 4 nights. And we worked at night because the rates at night were cheaper than during the daytime. Although I must say I hate working all night long. If I look back at the situation, I don't know how lucky we were that it was possible to record what ended up on the first NEU album in such a short time. Yeah, we somehow managed to get music on tape, we could easily have failed, really. It was a matter of luck that we ended up with enough music on the tape to release the first Neue album. And these days, if I listen to a track like, especially a track like Hallogallo, which has, for me, still so much of a mystery. It's like a cat, sort of. I look at it and I think, yeah, it is really good. And these things Conny Plank also put together, the guitars he mixed, my guitars, the backwards, forward guitars, that was a great job and so impressive because I couldn't imagine myself being able to memorize all those parts where the guitars were great, where he could show them, and at other parts where the guitars were not so good. So it was all done manually. The mix was done by pushing the faders up and down. And Conny Plank also did a wonderful job recording the drums. That was something Conny was very much into. He had given the recording of drums a lot of thought and experimentation. And I think they still sound great today. We always went together into the recording room to record the basic tracks. So Klaus played drums, I played guitar on Hallogallo. And so that was the foundation, the basic elements. More than 10 minutes in the case of Hallogallo, I think nearly 11 minutes. And then the next step was to decide what to do, because we didn't have a clear, precise plan of the elements that would go on top of these basic recordings. It was clear that I would play guitar and that I would try to create something that we used to call clouds, like melodies that change color in the sky, while the motorik, I should not even use that word, but the car or the vehicle you're riding on moves along the highway to a distant point or maybe even the horizon. And a lot of that was, of course, everything happened on the spot. And there were some lucky circumstances. For instance, when I recorded the first overdub, I had a wonderful feedback. I had Altec lensing loudspeakers, my own guitar box I brought along, and with fuzz and wah and this feedback, I was able to play the long syrupy notes that weave through the air. And Klaus played this kind of rhythmic clack, clack, and clack, clack, clack. Very interesting, also with wah pedal. In the case of Hallogallo, this quacken, quacken guitar was very important. It still is very important and gives some propulsive element. And then I recorded more melodies forwards, and then Conny turned the tape around and I played more melodies. I was, of course, inspired by the sound of the music running backwards, something that always interests me. I love backwards sounding music and also slowed down music. So this was great. I was in the recording room. I was surprised by this and, of course, very happy to hear the music like that. And when Conny Plank turned the tape back into the right direction, suddenly you had these backwards guitars mixing with the forward melodies. And the next step was, which I already described, the magic, the incredible talent of Conny Plank to memorize the good parts or the right parts where the guitars would meet in the sky. Well, it's just a picture, but I feel the melodies flying around somewhere above my head, and it's magic. Klaus was a magnificent, powerful, determined drummer, but he was not a skilled drummer like, for instance, Jackie Liebezeit, who was a magician at the drums. He was a virtuoso, and Klaus was like me. We were both similar in that respect, a primitive player. So he was the best Klaus Dinger impersonator, like I'm the best Michael Rother impersonator on guitar or on other instruments. And it was only very clear from the first moment when I did rehearsals with Kraftwerk that his powerful drumming style enabled magnificent rides. Having said this, because praising Klaus is important and recognizing his qualities, what I am a bit confused or unhappy about is when I have the feeling that people don't realize what they enjoy. They think it is the drumming, it is the combination of the drumming and all the other instruments. If you take one element away, it would not be the same. Nobody would want to listen to 10 minutes of the drums in solo or my guitars in solo. So really the meaning of the music comes together only in the combination of all the elements we played on all the instruments. So I don't know, it's clear to me, although it's sometimes difficult to imagine how non-musicians hear music, but it is clear that the drums as a sound source are the easiest to identify probably for the audience. So you can hear this is a snare drum and that's a cymbal crashing and so on. And of course the drumming is very, very impressive, but again, the magic happens when you combine it with what gives the power, the meaning, and that the meaning comes from the musical instruments that are creating a harmonic, melodic world along with the drumming. If you imagine just one element missing in a track like Hallogallo, the whole thing could have easily fallen apart. It is a very dynamic song, but also it has this frailty. And I don't know really how this was possible, this beauty and this frailty. And like I said, even today, I'm confused and surprised and of course thankful for Conny Plank for organizing those sounds in that beautiful way. Everything could have also failed because of the lack of time. So actually that is something I even try to do today, although I have all the time in the world nowadays with my own recording studio and of course with computers, endless hours of recording possible. And if I don't finish the song today, I will do it tomorrow or next year. But back then, everything had to be done so quickly. There was not any time really to contemplate and to fuss about details. So it was like creating something on the run.